Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, the One Piece podcast that sails right alongside the Straw Hats. We are fresh out of Alabasta, the dust is settled, a kingdom is saved, and we are on to the next adventure.
And today, we are tackling Chapter 218, Why the Log Post Points Upwards, a title that asks an impossible question and a chapter that delivers an even more impossible answer.
Okay, look, we just finished one of the single greatest arcs in this entire story. Crocodile is down, Vivi is waving goodbye, the crew is back together, the slate is wiped clean. You feel this sense of peace, right? The calm after the storm. And Oda just takes that calm, puts it in a cannon, and fires a full-sized galleon that falls out of the sky at it.
Literally fell from the clouds. It wasn't dropped, it wasn't flying, it just ceased to be in the sky and started to be in the ocean very, very rapidly, and nearly crushed the Going Merry in the process.
This is the kind of escalation that makes One Piece what it is. If you're trying to get a friend on board with this journey, tell them to follow our feed. We break down every single chapter, and moments like this are exactly why you can't ever look away. This is where the Grand Line stops playing by the rules. We thought we knew the rules. We thought, okay, weird magnetic fields, strange weather, giant sea monsters, those are the rules. Now the rule is, gravity is optional and ships can spawn in the air.
The rules were already fairly loose, but yes, this is a new level of impossibility. It challenges the very physics of their world in a way we haven't seen before. It's not just a strange biological creature or a devil fruit power. It's a fundamental break in reality.
So how did we get from a royal tomb in the desert to a ship raining from the heavens? It all starts with the woman at the center of everything, Nico Robin, the brand new and very much uninvited passenger on the Going Merry.
The chapter opens with a flashback right after Luffy's final punch lands on Crocodile. The entire tomb is collapsing. You have this real sense of urgency, sand and stone falling everywhere. It's the final punctuation mark on the Alabasta War.
And Luffy is out cold. That poison hook finally caught up to him. He won, but he's not getting up. And who's there? King Cobra, the ruler of the nation that was just almost destroyed, and the person who was just trying to kill them all, Miss All Sunday, the vice president of Baroque Works, the big bad's right-hand woman.
And this is where the mystery of her character begins to unravel. She does something completely unexpected. She tosses a small vial, an antidote, to Cobra and tells him to give it to Luffy.
That's the first big piece of the puzzle, right? She didn't have to do that. She could have walked away, let Luffy and Cobra get buried and be on her way. She had no allegiance to either of them. In fact, letting them die would have been the cleanest getaway possible. No witnesses, no loose ends. But she saves him. Why?
I think there are two layers to it. On one level, it's a transactional sort of honor. He defeated her boss and in a way freed her from that servitude, even if he didn't intend to. But on a deeper level, I think she saw something in him. Throughout the arc, he was this force of chaos she couldn't predict. He survived her attack. He survived Crocodile twice. He just refused to lose. Maybe a part of her was just scientifically curious to see what this creature would do next.
A scientific curiosity that saved his life. I love that. I have no reason to help you, but you're just too weird to let die. That feels very Robin.
Cobra is confused, as he should be. He's holding the fate of the country's savior given to him by the enemy. He asks her why she lied to Crocodile. He overheard her. The poneglyph in the tomb wasn't about the history of Alabasta.
It was about Pluton, the ancient weapon, the thing Crocodile was actually after. His whole plan of the Civil War usurping the throne, it was all a means to an end, and that end was finding the location of a weapon of mass destruction. She had the key to his entire plan in her hands, and she lied to his face. She sent him on a wild goose chase.
She tells Cobra straight up, I could care less about this country. A devastatingly cold line, but it clarifies her motives. Her goal was never to help Crocodile get his weapon. Her goal was to use him and his resources to get access to poneglyphs. She was hunting for the one poneglyph that contains the true history.
And because this poneglyph only talked about the weapon, she sees her entire life's work as a failure. All the running, all the hiding since she was 8 years old, all the deals with devils she made, for nothing. It was just another dead end.
She just slumps down against the wall of the collapsing tomb. You can feel the weight of 20 years of struggle just crushing her in that moment. Her entire life has been a singular pursuit, and in that instant, she believes the trail has gone cold forever. She tells Cobra to go, to leave her. She says she has no reason to live.
That line, "I want to die," it's so stark, it's quiet, it's not dramatic. It's just a statement of fact for her. Oda doesn't pull that punch. This is a woman who has hit absolute rock bottom. Her dream is gone, her protector is gone, and she's ready to be done. The one thing that kept her alive for 20 years just vanished.
It's the ultimate expression of despair, and it's important to remember this is coming from someone who has survived the destruction of her entire home, who has been a fugitive from the world government for 20 years. She has endured everything, but the death of her dream is the one thing she can't survive.
But there's one person in that room who doesn't deal in things like giving up.
He just stands up. No epic speech, no big declaration. Luffy, patched up from the antidote, just stands up, grabs Cobra in one arm, and slings Robin over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes.
And I mean, it is so unceremonious. It's not a gentle, "let me help you," it's just thump over the shoulder. He's got the king of Alabasta tucked under one arm and his former enemy over the other.
She's protesting, telling him to leave her, that she has no reason to live. She's actively trying to get him to abandon her to die in the tomb.
And he just flat out ignores her. He doesn't argue. He doesn't try to convince her with a speech about the beauty of life. He just acts. That is the core of Monkey D. Luffy. He hears you want to die? Too bad. I'm saving you. Now we're leaving. End of discussion. He doesn't need to understand your pain to reject your conclusion.
It's such a powerful and simple refusal to accept her despair. He doesn't need to understand her reasons. He just knows that's not an option. For someone like Robin, who has spent her life navigating complex betrayals and intellectual puzzles, this simple brute force act of compassion is something she has no defense against. It doesn't compute.
That's exactly the kind of thing that makes Luffy terrifying. The world just runs out of ways to stop him, and it also runs out of ways to make him abandon someone. He just decides, and that's reality now. You want to die? Nope. Reality has been changed. You now want to be carried out of this tomb. Get with the program.
And that brings us to the present, on the deck of the Going Merry. The flashback was her explaining all of this to the crew. She's just appeared on their ship unannounced after they thought they were rid of Baroque works for good.
And the way she frames it is brilliant. It's not, "Thank you for saving me, can I please join?" She looks at Luffy and says, "You committed a grave crime against me. You forced me to live when I wanted to die.
Therefore, you must take responsibility. Let me join your crew."
It's the most backwards, manipulative, and yet somehow perfect logic to use on Luffy. You can see the gears turning in his simple brain. I did a thing, so now there's a consequence, and the consequence is she joins? It's like a math problem where all the numbers are bananas, but he somehow gets an answer he's happy with.
And what does our brilliant captain say?
Okay. Just like that. No hesitation, not a single thought behind those eyes. Just pure acceptance. And the entire crew just explodes.
Usopp, Nami, Sanji, Zoro, Chopper, they all have the exact same thought balloon. What? That synchronized identical reaction panel is comedy gold.
Everyone is on the exact same page of disbelief, while Luffy is on a completely different planet.
Sanji, of course, immediately flips. 1 second he's ready to kick her off the ship, the next he's serving her a drink with hearts in his eyes. He's just swooning over this beautiful, mysterious woman. His entire threat assessment system is bypassed by a pretty face.
Nami, on the other hand, is the voice of reason. She's shouting, "Hold on, this is the second in command of Baroque Works, Miss All Sunday. She tried to kill us. She tried to kill Vivi. She remembers the stakes."
Usopp is justifiably terrified. He's hiding behind Zoro, screaming about how she's an enemy, and Robin leans into it. She introduces herself properly. "I became an archaeologist at age 8. For the 20 years since, I've been on the run, moving between the shadows of the underworld."
This is a masterclass in controlled intimidation. She's not just introducing herself, she's building a resume of danger. She's letting them know exactly how capable and ruthless she's had to be to survive.
And then the kicker. My specialty is assassination. She just drops that bomb on the deck of the ship. Usopp's eyes pop out of his head. He's about to have a heart attack.
She knows exactly what she's doing. She's laying out the worst possible version of herself right away. It's a test, in a way. This is what you're dealing with. Are you sure you want me? It's also a defense mechanism. By presenting the most threatening version of herself, she maintains control of the situation.
But then, just as fast, she completely changes the mood. She sees it's not working on the captain. Luffy and Chopper are just looking at her, completely clueless, not a single brain cell firing between them about the danger. So she sprouts a bunch of hands from her body and starts tickling them.
The Hana Hana no Mi? It's the first time we've seen it used for something so mundane and playful. Until now, it's been used for snapping necks and disarming opponents. Here, it's a tool of charm, and it works perfectly. The two most simple-minded members of the crew are immediately won over. They're just laughing hysterically.
It's genius. She identified the easiest targets and neutralized them with pure silliness. Luffy just thinks, cool power, and it's fun. She can stay. Chopper's just a kid, so of course he's won over by a game. 2 down.
Then Nami is still holding out, being the sensible one. Her pragmatism and distrust are the biggest hurdle, and Robin, without missing a beat, just produces a bag of jewels and gold from Crocodile's treasure and hands it to her.
Nami's eyes turn to Bay-Ri signs. You can literally hear the cha-ching sound effect in the panel. Greed wins out over caution. Robin just bought her allegiance. It's hilariously cynical, but also Robin read her perfectly. She knew Nami's price.
It's not just greed, though. It's also that Nami understands value. A crewmate who can casually acquire that much treasure is, in Nami's mind, a valuable asset to the crew's finances. It's a business decision. A terrible, short-sighted business decision, but one nonetheless.
So you have Sanji, won over by beauty, Luffy and Chopper, won over by tickles, Nami, won over by treasure. Usopp is still scared out of his mind, but he's also kind of amazed by her devil fruit power. He's on the fence, but he's outnumbered.
Which leaves one person.
Roronoa Zoro. He hasn't moved. His hand is on the hilt of Wado Ichimonji, and he is staring her down with pure, undiluted suspicion. He's not falling for any of it. Not the charm, not the jokes, not the treasure.
He is the immune system of the Straw Hat crew. He's the one who senses a potential threat and remains on guard no matter what. While everyone else is being swayed by their personal vices or naivete, Zoro's only concern is the crew's safety and the captain's ambition.
I love it. It shows you exactly who he is. He doesn't care if the captain said yes. He's the first mate, the protector, and his job is to watch for the knife in the back. He remembers her threatening Vivi at gunpoint. He remembers her standing with Crocodile. For Zoro, trust isn't given. It's forged in battle and loyalty, and she has shown none of that. This is a direct callback to Whiskey Peak, where he was the only one who didn't fall for the facade of the welcoming town.
It establishes a really interesting tension. She's on the crew, but she's not of the crew yet. She has to earn that trust, and Zoro is going to be the final gatekeeper. He represents the highest wall she has to climb to truly be accepted. His silence is louder than everyone else's shouting.
And while all this incredible crew dynamic is unfolding, something starts to happen. Little bits of wood start falling from the sky, splinters almost.
They think it's just debris at first, maybe a strange type of rain. But then the shadow covers the ship. It's this creeping darkness that blots out the sun.
And it's a galleon, a whole massive wooden ship, plunging out of the sky like a meteor. The panel of them all looking up with pure shock on their faces is one of my favorites. Oda conveys the scale of this thing perfectly. It's not a rowboat, it's a vessel the size of a building.
The scale of this is hard to comprehend. We're on the open ocean. There is nothing above them but clouds, and a ship just appears and falls. It's a complete violation of every natural law they know.
They manage to steer the Mary out of the direct path, but the splashdown creates this massive tidal wave that almost capsizes them. The sheer force of the impact, just incredible. You can feel the sound of it, this deafening crash and the roar of the water.
Then more pieces of the wreckage rained down. The ship disintegrated on impact, and something thuds onto the deck. It's heavier than a piece of wood.
It's a skeleton. A full skeleton in old-timey clothes. A proper sea captain's outfit. It just landed right in front of them. The crew was already on edge from Robin's arrival, and now they have a corpse from a sky ship on their deck.
So now they have a new crewmate they don't trust, and a skeleton from a ship that fell out of the sky. Just another Tuesday on the Grand Line. The normal has been completely recalibrated once again.
Nami, trying to make sense of anything to find one constant in this chaos, looks at the log post. And this is the title of the chapter. It's not pointing forward. It's not spinning wildly like it does near some islands. It's pointing straight up, into the sky.
This completely breaks the known laws of the world. Log posts track the magnetic signature of islands. That is their one inviolable function. What is in the sky that has a magnetic field strong enough to pull the needle? An island needs ground. It needs rock, minerals. How can that exist in the air?
Nami is freaking out, thinking it's broken. The Grand Line has finally broken her navigation equipment. This is her worst nightmare. As a navigator, if she can't trust her tools, she's lost. She's completely adrift.
And then Nico Robin, the mysterious newcomer, the assassin, the untrusted element, speaks up, calmly, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. She's been observing everything, the ship, the skeleton, the log posts, and piecing it together.
It must be a sky island.
The way she says it with such certainty, while everyone else is in a panic, she provides the impossible answer. She doesn't say maybe or what if, she says it must be. She speaks with the authority of a scholar.
That's her value right there. In one sentence, she proves why having her on board is a game changer. Luffy's gut instinct to save her is immediately validated, even if he doesn't realize it. She knows things. She knows the secrets of the world that no one else does. She's not just an assassin. She's a scholar who has seen the hidden corners of history and myth.
She also mentions a scientist or an explorer, Willie Galleon. He's probably some figure from a storybook like Mont Blanc Noland, who spoke of things no one believed.
Oh, for sure. It feels like a huge theme in this story, these legendary figures who were dismissed as liars but were actually telling the truth. We just left a country that was built on a lie about its history, and now we're chasing a legend that's probably true. It's a perfect thematic transition. We're moving from uncovering political lies to uncovering historical truths.
This is the official start of the next saga. We've left the desert sands and the political intrigue of Alabasta behind. The scope is shifting from grounded warfare to pure, unadulterated fantasy adventure. We are literally chasing a castle in the sky.
We're going to an island in the sky. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's where the needle is pointing. Oda just spent over 100 chapters building up this massive, intricate desert kingdom, and the second it's over, he pivots to something even more insane. What a madman. It is super.
It's a perfect hook. It leaves you with an impossible question. How do you sail up? And a crew that is uniquely equipped and unequipped to handle it. They have the scholar who knows the myth, but a crew dynamic that's been thrown into complete disarray.
Also, just a quick aside for Oda's author comment this week. He says he's watching The Godfather and that he hates being controlled. He tells us to call him Don Oda.
That explains a lot, actually. The man is clearly the godfather of his own story. He does exactly what he wants, when he wants, and we all just have to follow. He makes us an offer we can't refuse. Read the next chapter.
Absolutely. Don Oda, we salute you. This chapter is a masterpiece of a transition. It perfectly closes the door to one adventure while throwing the door to the next one wide open, and that door is in the ceiling.
And it leaves the crew in a completely new state. More divided and suspicious of each other internally than they have been in a long time, but facing a bigger external mystery than ever before.
I cannot wait to see how they even begin to tackle this. Going up. How do you sail a ship up? Do you get a bunch of balloons? Do you find a giant bird? The logistics are mind-boggling.
That is the question, isn't it? And it's a question that promises an adventure unlike any we've seen before.
Well, while we ponder that impossible question, let's get into some predictions for chapter 219.
Okay, I'll start. My first prediction is that they will examine the wreckage of the fallen Galleon more closely. The skeleton is not just a prop. It will be holding something, or there will be a logbook or a map fragment that gives them their first real clue about the Sky Island. It'll be waterlogged and barely legible, but it will contain a name or a symbol that points them to their next destination on the sea level Grand Line.
I like that. That's a classic adventure trope. My first one is that the next island they actually land on, which will probably be Jaya, is going to be full of people who call the Sky Island a myth. They'll be laughed out of every bar. But they'll find one crazy old-timer, an outcast, maybe a descendant of Noland or someone like him, who is the only one who believes it and knows the secret to getting up there.
That feels very probable. A dreamer in a town of cynics. For my second prediction, Zoro is going to have a direct conversation with Robin. It won't be a public shouting match, but a quiet, deadly serious threat. He'll corner her when she's alone and tell her that he's watching her, that he doesn't trust her, and if she makes one wrong move that endangers Luffy or the crew, he will cut her down without hesitation. It will be the scene that formally establishes their dynamic for the next arc.
100%. That confrontation is coming, and it's coming soon. Okay, my second prediction is a bit more about the crew dynamic. Sanji and Zoro's conflict is going to get way worse because of Robin. Sanji will be defending her at every turn, being her knight, and Zoro's constant open suspicion will infuriate him. This is going to be the spark that lights that fire again. Every time Zoro glares at her, Sanji's going to get in his face about it.
That's a good one. The crew's balance is completely upset right now. For my final prediction, I think we'll learn more about the mechanics of getting to the Sky Island, and it won't be simple. It's going to involve some kind of freak natural phenomenon, something they have to seek out. My money is on a massive waterspout, a pillar of water that goes into the sky, but they have to catch it at the exact right time and place. It's not going to be as simple as just sailing up. It will be a life or death gamble with nature.
Yeah, something insane like that. Okay, my final prediction is that the name Willie Galleon will be linked to the island of Jaya. He was from there, or he died there, and following his legacy will be the key. His story will be the parallel to Nolan's that we'll be following in this arc. They'll find his house or his grave, and that's where they'll meet the crazy old-timer I was talking about.
An island of liars and dreamers. It seems like the perfect place to start a journey to a castle in the sky.
Absolutely. All right, that's all we've got for chapter 218. What a start to a new saga, from the depths of a royal tomb to the prospect of an island in the heavens.
The board is reset, the destination is impossible, and the crew has a new, dangerous variable in Nico Robin. This is where the adventure truly begins again. Thanks for listening to Inherited Dawn.
We'll see you next time as we search for clues on the Island of Dreamers. Stay super, everyone.